spoiler alert, I lost the bet. Hello, I'm Kristen, also known as Voolenvine, here on my YouTube channel, on Instagram, on Ravelry, and pretty much everywhere else on the interwebs. And as always, I'm so happy that you're taking some time out of your day to chat about all the knitting, all the sewing, all the making, or whatever crafty rabbit hole I happen to be diving down this week. And yes, my friends, we are coming to a close on week 4 of staying at home and social distancing. I hope you guys are hanging in there. Things are scary here in New York City. We've been hit pretty hard, but thank you so much to everybody who's reached out asking if I'm okay, if Dennis is okay. We are fine. We are staying inside and not leaving the house unless we absolutely need to, like for groceries or going to the post office, etc. I will talk more about this throughout the episode and the blather segment where I chat about life stuff, but yeah, things are a little scary out there, but you know, the best that we can do is just stay home and keep our distance from people. And you know, it seems, you know, the news has been pretty up and down, but you know, some days good news, some days not so great news, but it seems like the social distancing and the staying at home method is working, so fingers crossed we don't have to put up with this for much longer. I mean, we've made it this far. By Jove, we can do it. We can do it for as long as it takes, right? But hopefully not that much longer. All that to say that I hope wherever you are in the world that you're staying safe, you're well, and staying creative, and hopefully this channel can be a source of escape for you from what's going on outside. But yes, I do have a fun show for you this week, hopefully. I've got some knitting, I've got some crochet, I've got sewing, I've got a lot of stuff. So before I get into that, we have a couple of announcements. Of course, we have our history make-along, and that is a make-along where we are making any project that you want. It can be knitting, sewing, crochet, weaving, embroidery, any project at all of or relating to a time period prior to the 1950s. So it can be historically accurate, it can be historically inspired. I'm endeavoring to create a handmade wardrobe that is inspired by the Edwardian era, and some people are making medieval crafts, other people are making things from, you know, cute little cropped cardigans from the 1950s. There's so much inspiration happening over in that thread, which I should say, if you want to partake in the make-along, you can do so by hopping over to the Voolenvine Ravelry group and joining the thread, just partaking in the chatter, sharing your projects, links to patterns, ideas. Yeah, there's just so much going on in there right now, and it's really fun keeping up with it. So definitely do check that out. And I'm trying to think if there are any other announcements that I want to chat about. I think that's it. So I am going to get into what I've been making. We interrupt this regularly scheduled program for a message from Bella.
Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of classes in design, business, tech, and more, even sewing and the fiber arts. I love learning new things when it comes to knitting, sewing, photography, or whatever crafty rabbit hole I happen to be diving down. And because I know you love learning new things too, I partnered up with Skillshare, and they are offering my viewers 2 months free to try their platform. So give Skillshare a go and learn something new. Just click on the link in the description box below, entering the code at checkout, and enjoy. And thanks, Skillshare.
All right, update on the Blanket of Calm by Casapinka. It's a free crochet granny square blanket that a lovely viewer suggested I check out, and oh my goodness, it is bogarted my heart completely. I have not been wanting to work on anything else but these things. And the pile has not really grown since I last showed it to you, only because I ran out of yarn. Yeah, as I mentioned, I was using some leftover scrap yarn from socks in the Bergere de France Goomy 50, and I had to panic order some more from, lovecrafts.com, and it took a while because, you know, coronavirus. I'm just gonna blame everything on coronavirus. Everything is coronavirus's fault. Because of that, the snail mail is especially glacial these days. So I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I certainly have. Anyway, I did put an order in for more of this yarn because I really enjoy the way these are knitting up, and I could totally see having a full-on quilt out of these little squares. I'm like obsessed. So it finally So it finally arrived in the mail, and of course they're all at the bottom of this bag, but I helped myself to a little haul in the meantime. So anyway, so this is the yarn in question. It is, again, Bergere de France Goomy 50 in the beige colorway, but it's so much more than beige. It's beige with flecks of, I want to say, pops of red and browns and stripes of peach, and it's more like peaches and cream. But it makes me so happy. Anyway, I ordered about, I think, 5 or 6 skeins of it, so hopefully that should be sufficient enough for a throw of some kind. And the other thing that I wanted to mention is that this is a free pattern. However, there is another pattern out there that I didn't verbally mention it. I popped some text on the screen because I didn't realize it until after, while I was editing. There happens to be another free pattern out there very similar to this. Pretty much the very same recipe as the blanket of calm. Essentially, it's just a crochet granny square made up of double crochet stitches or treble crochet if you're from the UK. But yeah, very, very similar, by Sandra, who's also known as Cherry Heart on Ravelry. And of course, I will link down to it to both patterns in the description box below. So pick your poison. But the funny thing is that last week I had mentioned that it reminded me of Battenberg cake, like the colors and everything. And Sandra Paul's pattern happens to be called the Battenberg blanket. What are the odds? So yeah, anyway, it's really cool. Both patterns are great. Again, pick your poison. They're both free. And yeah, I thought I would just mention that. But yeah, this has been a really fun project to work on in these crazy, insane times. So yeah. All right, guys, I hope you're sitting down for this next project that I'm going to share with you, because are you ready for it? I cast on a sweater for Dennis. I know. It's just been, I've cast on, I don't know how many sweaters for him in the past, and I've just never finished them for him. I think either because the yarn I wasn't enjoying working with, the pattern what I wasn't enjoying. It was just never the right combination of pattern, yarn, motivation, or I don't know what. But anyway, unfortunately, it took a pandemic for me to finally pull the trigger and cast him on a sweater. And yeah, it's actually, there's more to it than that, because long story short, we had a bet going on, and I'm not going to get into the whole details of the bet. It's kind of like an inside joke, but the deal breaker was that if I lost the bet, I would have to cast on a sweater. And spoiler alert, I lost the bet. Surprise. So here we are. I've cast him on a sweater, and yeah, here's where I am with it. And I will be totally honest, I'm actually enjoying this more so than the other projects that I've cast on. I think I've cast on a Rift pullover by Jared Flood, or Brooklyn Tweed for him. I've cast on a, what was it, the Ranger pullover. There was another pullover that I cast on from, I can't remember, but several patterns that just never came to fruition, so to speak. So either it was just the wrong type of yarn, the wrong type of needle combination, the pattern I just really wasn't enjoying. Anyway, I stumbled on this pattern, which is the Caine pullover by Martin Storey. I have no idea how this pattern flew under my radar, but it's exactly what I've been craving, just plain stockinette, back and forth, back and forth. And yeah, it is knit flat, so it is knit in pieces, and I am gonna have to seam it up in the end when it's all said and done, which I'm completely fine with. I know I could have modified the pattern to knit it in the round. However, I know that involves knitting a gauge in the round, and I will be totally honest, I don't like knitting round gauges. If I have to knit a gauge, I just want it to be flat. So, you know, I didn't do anything fancy. I just left the pattern as it is. And, you know, to be totally honest, I don't mind purling. It's not something, you know, obviously it's not my favorite stitch compared to knitting, but I am quick at it, and I don't really mind purling. So the yarn that I'm using is Rowan Felted Tweed. It's DK weight yarn, and let me see. It's 50% wool, 25% alpaca, which will keep Dennis very warm in the winter, and 25% viscose. And it is so squishy and so soft and floofy. And yeah, it's their charcoal colorway, which is interesting because in daylight it kind of looks like a denim blue, but in tungsten light it looks charcoal. Either way, it's a really pretty color yarn. Dennis likes it. There are these subtle flecks of, again, denim blue and brown and white tweed flecks in here. And yeah, it's just been really, really nice to work with. I highly recommend it. As I mentioned, I did knit a gauge swatch. I did not get gauge with the recommended needle size. I actually went down, the recommended needle size is a size 5, and I went down to a size 4. So that seems to be doing the trick. And of course, I went down a needle size for the ribbing as well. And yeah, just nothing. So far, it's just been really, really straightforward. Just, you know, casting on X amount of stitches, ribbing, and then knitting flat. And yeah, it's gonna have some really nice raglan shaping at the top, and Bob's your uncle. I think I got like 8 or 9 skeins of this. Yeah, so anyway, that is where I am with that. And I think that is it for the knitting and crochet content of the episode. Let's move on to sewing. I just realized that I may have been wearing this top in the last episode. Oh well, here we are again. It's clean, I promise. I did laundry over the weekend, so yeah, not living like a total savage. But anyway, let me stand up so you can see what I sewed over the weekend. And I posted about this on Insta. Oh, you're not going to be able to see this. You guys are not going to be able to see this in all its glory in this video, but I will pop a photo of it here so you can see what it looks like full length. And yeah, this is the Jamie skirt by McCall's Patterns. I believe it's number M8044. And I made it out of the fabric that I purchased from my local yarn shop, Brooklyn General. And of course, yes, it is Liberty fabric. Very fancy. So as I mentioned, I am endeavoring to create a historically inspired wardrobe, primarily the Edwardian era. And while this skirt is by no means meant to be historical, it does have Edwardian elements to it. It's just, you know, the buttons down the front. It's kind of like it's a maxi skirt with a ruffle at the bottom, and the print is very, very Edwardian / Art Nouveau. So that really fit the bill, I think. I also published a vlog showing the process of making it. It's not so much a tutorial or step-by-step, it's more just kind of like taking you through the process of making it, and I also share some sewing tips and tricks. You know, just a casual format vlog of me making this skirt. So, you know, definitely check it out. I'll pop it in the doobly-doo up here if you want to do that. So, yeah, I'm trying to think what else I want to say about this skirt other than it was really simple and easy to put together. Definitely recommend it for beginners. That is my McCall's Jamie skirt. Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned this, but yeah, McCall's went through a whole rebrand. So I believe now they're naming their patterns, so they're not just like M8044. That you can identify them as a name or a, you know, which I think a lot of people will appreciate. Since I stink at memorizing numbers. I only memorized this one because I blogged about it. I edited a video on it, so it's kind of ingrained in my mind right now. But yeah, in the future it'll make remembering other patterns a lot simpler. Yeah, so anyway, I've rambled on way too much about this pattern. The other make that I made yesterday, and will be publishing a vlog about, is I finally caved and made a mask to venture out into civilization if I need to, grab some essentials or what have you, because as I mentioned, it's scary out there. There are people walking around, not social distancing, and, you know, yeah, these are important. And yeah, this is the Olson pattern. It's a free pattern that I will of course link to in the description box below if you want to make one of your own, but it's great. It's super simple. It took me less than 20 minutes to whip up, and of course I had to go all out and make mine super fancy and super lacy. I'm not sure how well you're going to be able to see this because once again, I'm sewing with black. Goodness. All right. But yes, it is essentially just 2 layers of solid black cotton, and then the outer layer I have lace fabric that I underlined with one of those layers of black cotton, if that makes sense. And the cool thing about this pattern is that on the inside, the lining has these pockets that you can insert an extra layer of protection, like a filter or a tissue or some kind of extra layer of protection when you go out into the universe and want, you know, just that extra insurance, so to speak. I had hair ties that I used for, you know, to hang over the ears, and I'm going to try it on so you can see what it looks like. So Yeah. Awesome. I'm not gonna lie, the fit is not perfect, but it does cover my face. Well, right now it fits pretty snugly around my face, but depending how I'm wearing it. Um, but if I make another one, I might tailor it just a little bit and pinch out some excess fabric down here. But otherwise it fits fine. It does the job. So yeah, just a really, really great quick pattern. And a lot of sewers in the knitting community and sewing community are mass producing these like hotcakes. And I think that is incredible. I've thought about doing it myself, but I will be totally honest. Hand dyeing yarn is my full-time job, and at the end of the day, I just again don't have the energy to sew. Sewing I usually reserve for weekends, and it's my happy place. And you know, the reason why I don't sew project bags is because I don't have the mental capacity to do assembly line sewing. It drives me absolutely batty and it's very stressful. So while I wish that I had the energy and time to mass produce some of these, I really don't. And if I do something like that, I want it to come from a happy place, not a place of frustration and stress, if that makes any sense. But to compensate, hopefully just by me sharing my version and the link below where you can find these free mask patterns. And I am going to be publishing a vlog on how I made this version. Again, more tips, tricks, and the general process of me making one of these. And the people that are mass producing these, keep up the amazing work. You're doing awesome, and I salute you. As for life stuff, I have not left the house again in about 7 days, I want to say. Actually, no, Dennis and I, we did leave the house last Sunday. We finally got out. We went for a walk. There's a park near here called Highland Park. It's really beautiful. If you consider overlooking a cemetery, beautiful. There's so much history to it, and I'm just like, I'm here for it. So yeah, it's an old reservoir. There's no more. There's only like a little patch of water that's not even a source of water for New York City anymore, but the rest just has like these ingrown trees in the middle, and there's a cemetery nearby. It's just very, very, very pretty. So we did get out. We did do a loop, but again, there were so many people out, which a lot were wearing masks, a lot were social distancing, but then there were those few bad apples that just were not doing that. There were groups of friends, and I don't know if they were roommates or friends or I have no idea, but they should have known better. I don't understand. I really don't. But yeah, in New York City, they've taken down the hoops from playgrounds, so people aren't encouraged to gather in groups and play basketball or any other group sports or what have you. So there's that. That's really eerie. And I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, so, that was our day out. After we did the loop, we just went right back home. It's just like too many people out, and not worth the risk. But otherwise, it's just business as usual. I got the yarn club shipments out this week. Dennis helped me package orders, and that was awesome. So I think he's earned the sweater. I also did take some time off this week, only because I was feeling a little burnt out. Because when I get stressed out, I generally like to throw myself into work, and I don't realize that I'm doing it until I actually feel really burnt out. So took a little time off for self-care this week. But I'm also working on something super exciting behind the scenes for you guys. So I'm not ready to announce it yet, but hopefully in the next week or two, you'll hear something about it. But if you subscribe to my newsletter, you will be the first to hear about it. So highly recommend that you hop on that if you want to be in the know before everybody else. So anyway, and the newsletter, like I've been trying new things with it, just kind of, aside from just here's what's going to be in my shop update this week, I've been doing, including some of my weekly favorites and sharing projects that you guys make with my yarn, which by the way, I don't think I mentioned, I'm the hand dyer behind Voolenvine yarns. Hello, if you are new to that. But yeah, anyway, I feel like I'm rambling at this point, so I'm going to end things there. Thank you, as always, for hanging out with me. If you did enjoy this episode, please feel free to like and subscribe below. I put out a video for your viewing pleasure every Friday or Saturday. I hope wherever you are, you're staying safe, well, creative, and until next time, happy knitting, happy sewing, happy making. Bye!